Hello, sweet friends, and welcome to Southern Ways with Felicia. And I am Felicia. I'm so glad to be back with you. And in our neighborhood today, it is rainy, cloudy, and foggy. But I certainly hope you're off to a great Friday. And I just wanted to hop on to share with you a couple of books that I gleaned through to find inspiration. And in one particular book, it's called Ceremonial Common Days. There's a story in here about rainy days, and so I wanted to share that with you. And I love the cover of this book. This book is from 1928, and on the inside it says 240 1928, which is really cool because my maternal grandmother, my sweet Lorraine, she was born in 1928. And this book also found its way into the collection of the Stewart Hall Library in Staunton, Virginia. If you're familiar with that library, please comment below. But what is really cool is that the book plate that was used by that library is still in here, and I really like book plates, so that was a pleasant surprise when I purchased this book. And in here there's a foreword that reads, and it says, that really should be read. This collection of ceremonials of a year is an anthology of the wonder of common days. It would be arrogant to attach the closing flourish, the end. The ceremonials of a year are accumulative. They can never be concluded as long as one lives on earth. Perhaps the ceremonials of earth will be continued in a sequel, the ceremonials of the Rupini moon. The spaces are therefore left for the private ceremonials of other people and for additional rites which we may wish to observe. I have had internal controversies over the translation of my ceremonials into words. My own soul has so many different versions of each one that I have found difficulty in selecting a mean account which will truly describe the interior events. 3 words will appear in these pages that may have need of explanation: soul of heaven and ceremonial. The words soul and heaven will have no philosophical nor theological connotation. Soul will be used as a symbol to represent the most important part of a person, the part that is admitted into heaven. Heaven will refer to the place we think of when we think very quickly, before we have opportunity to consult any secondhand information. A ceremonial may be interpreted as a spiritual obeisance to the created beauty of the world. So pretty much this book, it talks about everyday living and how we should find ceremony and blessings and just the common experiences that we have in our day. I am going to be sharing with you, it says, of rain. A day of rain is almost equivalent to Sunday. Candles may be burned then and fires colored. Important letters may be written and special books read. Food may be regarded with an air of importance. People may be invited in for tea. No degree of gaiety may be forbidden, nor may any finery be suppressed. There is a gladness about rain that must be respected. And I agree with that. I can remember as a little girl visiting my paternal grandmother and visiting her home, and whenever it would start raining or really thundering, she would make all the children sit on her couch, and we would have to sit there in perfect silence. And she would always tell us that the Creator was doing his work and that we needed to be quiet. And then she would belt out all of these gospel songs that she loved, and she wasn't really in tune, but her singing just filled the room, and you could tell that she really was engaged with what was going on. It was almost like a spiritual connection of the rain and fellowship with her creator. And that is a fond memory that I have from visiting with my grandmother, my sweet grandmother Blanche. So now I would like to share with you from Simple Abundance, a Daybook of comfort and joy. And I love this book. I think I've done broadcasts about this book before, and it's by Sarah Ban Breathnach, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And with today being July 26, I am going to read from July 26. Discovering what you'd like to do if you ever had the time. Develop interest in life as you see it. In people, things, literature, music, the world is so rich, simply throbbing with rich treasures, beautiful souls, and interesting people. Forget yourself. And that quote comes from Henry Miller. In the beginning, spending regular time alone just to collect your thoughts will seem like indulgence enough. Spending time alone to nurture your authentic vision, to express yourself creatively, to enjoy a personal pursuit that brings you contentment and pleasure will seem, well, impossible. Incredulous, impractical, inconceivable, out of the question. Right, in another life, is the usual response, along with the audible sighs and the rolling of eyes when I broach the subject in my workshops. Then wistful looks appear. You mean to have fun? The women want to know, yes, have fun. You mean by yourself? Yes, by yourself. Fun? What would you like to do if you ever had that time? Fun. You can see where this leads. Most women I meet have a hard time holding up their end of the conversation when fun is the topic. Let the discourse be on a diaper rash or Einstein's theory of relativity, and we can hold our own. But fun for its own sake, the plain truth is that somewhere between family and careers during the last 20 years, most of us have misplaced an essential part of ourselves. Once we began embarking on solitary sojourns to get reacquainted with our authentic selves, we usually discover that something is missing. It's called zest. The great delight that comes with the pieces of our particular puzzle finally fit. The heartfelt happiness we derive when something brings us keen pleasure, something uniquely our own. They used to call this magical something a hobby. But what to do? The writer Brenda Ullin tells us that our imaginations need moodling. Long, inefficient, happy, idling, dawdling, and puttering to flourish. Perhaps we also need a little personal sleuthing to uncover what solitary pleasures might be fun. It's been a long since we've concisely set aside time solely for rewarding reveries that many of us cannot fathom what to do. Except, of course, take a nap. When we have a couple of golden hours in which to answer to no one but ourselves, we lose what little leisure time we have available through attrition. Today, give in to your need for moodling. I like that word, moodling. That's fun to say. And while you're dawdling and puttering, consider what rewarding reveries you've put aside that brought you pleasure in the past. How I think about my work is indistinguishable from the way I think about my needlepoint or cooking. Here is the project I'm involved in. It is play. In this sense, all my life, is spent in play. Sewing or needlepoint, or picking flowers, or writing, or buying groceries, says writer Diane Johnson. Once you commit to bringing more of a sense of play into your daily life with authentic personal pursuits, life will begin to take on a harmonious lilt. I think that is truly some great words of wisdom and a great read to ignite some discoveries within all of us. I'm one of those people that I love to be by myself. I can always find something to do. I can entertain myself, be it with my little projects. My husband, he'll come in and he'll see me scribbling away or cutting, pasting, crafting, what have you. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I always tell him, this is so much fun to me. I am doing something that I love. I am creating things. And it's kind of like going back to my childhood for me, because I used to love making things when I was a child. And my mom would get on me all the time for always cutting up paper, because I would have pieces of paper all strewn all over the floor, and she would have to clean it up and make me clean it up sometimes. And that would just frustrate her. And I still do that to this day. I think as women, it's important that although we have our lives maybe with our husband, our children, our careers, or whatever you may have that consumes a lot of your time, that you carve out time for you to steal away, to be by yourself, to pull out some of those hobbies and crafts that you may not have visited in a long time. Another thing that I used to love to do is writing poetry, and I've gotten back into that. Also, I used to love to make artwork. And I have a piece behind me. If you look up in that corner up there, and some of you probably have noticed it, and you're like, what kind of art is that? That is actually a bridge that I saw when I visited England. I think it's called the Towney Bridge. And in art class, while I was in high school, I painted that picture. And yes, so that looks like something that a teenage Felicia made. It is a teenage Felicia artwork, and I loved it so much. Even though it's no Van Gogh or Monet or anything like that, it is something that I created, and I hung it in my home because it evokes so many memories about my childhood and me loving art, my visit to England, my art teacher that I had, Mrs. Rayfield. And so when I see that piece of artwork, it brings me happiness. And like I said, it's a reminder that I don't have to stop doing the things that I loved when I was younger. I can pull those things back out and those skills that I had when I was much younger and use them today in a fun way. So I hope that you will take some time to steal away, to be alone, and putter around your home and find some things to do. Be it gardening or whatever it may be. And that is just my inspiration that I hope that will spill onto you from this video. And with that being said, I am going to close out because I didn't want this video to be long. But thank you so much if you stayed to the end. And I'm going to ask that if you don't mind to please give a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And in the comments below, please comment and share if you're familiar with the Ceremonial of Common Days book. And just tell me some of the things that you do to keep up, your hobbies and the things that you like to do. What do you do when you steal away to be by yourself? Until next time, my sweet friends, bye-bye, and peace and blessings.